I'm coming to you today to tell you about Joy because tomorrow I don't think I'm going to be fit to do much talking. So anyway, I want to tell you a little bit about Joy, and let's start with how I met Joy. Actually, Joy was the first pretty girl that I was ever comfortable talking to. I'm pretty shy, at least I certainly was back in my high school days. In fact, I was so shy, I only had one date in high school, and the young lady that I went to the formal with, she was more shy than even me. So when you put two shy people together, they don't talk much, and I don't think we even talked after the formal was over. So anyway, when I went to college, my dating career didn't get much better. Well, actually, didn't get any better. I didn't have any dates in 3.5 years. Of course, I didn't try to have any dates because I was too shy to ask anybody. But anyway, here's how I met Joy. During my senior year, last semester of school, I took an internship in Bedford, Pennsylvania, working at a group home for men with mental health issues. Well, Joy came there to look for a job. And I have to tell you this, it was not love at first sight. Now, it might have had something to do with the fact that she came to the interview with her mom. Now, how many folks bring their moms to an interview? But anyway, her mom did play a probably pretty big role in our future because Joy had the choice of working at our group home or working at the women's group home, and she chose to work at the men's group home where I was. And it might have something to do with her mother saying, as they were leaving the interview, she turned to Joy and said, "You know that Dave fella, he would make a pretty good husband." And it's like, wow, where'd she come up with that? But anyway, she did. And from that point on, all right, don't tell my kids, but at the time that Joy came for the job, she was on academic probation. I took care of that. Got her back into school that summer, went back to Indiana University of Pennsylvania where she was going to college. She made Dean's List, so I had a pretty good influence on her. Then she transferred to Concord College. That's in West Virginia. Something about she wanted to be closer to me, so she came to Concord College and did fine there. And then she, got a friend here. Then she finished her college career at West Virginia University, and that was after we got married. But anyway, let me go back just a little bit. At the end of my internship, I definitely knew that this was a person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And Joy was afraid that I'd leave and find somebody else. She must not know me very well. Find somebody else and never had a date. Anyway, so to show her that I was really committed, sometime in the fall, Joy was over in Altoona, PA, shopping with her parents, and she was looking at wedding dresses. I don't know why, but she was. She found one that was on a great sale, and so she called me, and she told me, "Hey, I found a wedding dress, I think it was for under $100. And she said, "But my dad doesn't want to buy it because he's not sure that we're going to stay together." So I said to her, being the noble person I am, I said to her, "Listen, I will pay for the dress if we break up. So just let your dad know that." And sure enough, Dad was fine with that, and Joy got the wedding dress, and the rest is history. Pause. All right, I want to tell you just a little bit about Joy's personality. Again, it's fairly outgoing. She'll tell you that she's introverted, but she's also talkative. So anyway, she can find out more from a person in 5 minutes at the cash register than I could in an hour. She'll go up to the cash register, start talking to someone. Before long, she knows how long we've been married, how many kids they've got, and just on and on. Give you an example of that, we have this mechanic, great guy, big burly mountain type guy, and but he's not as tough as what he may seem because he has an owl collection, and Joy gave him a Harry Potter owl to add to his collection. Anyway, this guy, sometimes I have to insist that he let us pay for his work because he's so concerned about Joy, especially when she had cancer. Same thing with our plumber the other day. He comes in to do some work for us, and I'm ready to pay him, and he says no charge. So that's just kind of the impact that Joy has on folks. But anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the talkativeness. Easy to talk to, and boy, that sure won me over. Now, my older brother's wife, she said that both my older brother and me married, the women we married, so that we'd have somebody to talk for us. Well, that does come in handy at time because Joy wasn't afraid to, to ask any question to anybody, to check out something if it's not right. So that did come in very handy, and I did like that. All right, now let me tell you what happened after that. We got engaged, and that was in Pennsylvania. And when I brought her back home to West Virginia, my dad gave her a big hug, and he told her, he said, "Now you know that in the Riston household, we don't believe in divorce." And Joy had no problem with that. She agreed with that. She was good with that. And I have a couple Bible verses that tell you a little bit about marriage. The first one is from Proverbs 18:22, and it says, "The man who finds a wife finds a treasure and receives favor from the Lord." So that's a pretty good combination. You get a treasure and you get favor from the Lord. You can't beat that. Now the next verse I have is Ecclesiastes 9:9, and with that one, well, actually it's 9, 9 and 10, and 11 anyway. This one is also from Solomon, and here's this is sort of the benefits of marriage. It says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for the labor." They get a lot more done, two folks working together. "For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they keep warm." Now, that's not talking about intimacy. That's just talking about the benefits of keeping each other warm. Okay, one more verse, and this one also is from Ecclesiastes. I should point out that both Proverbs and Ecclesiastes were written by Solomon, the wisest man in the Bible. But, I think sometimes Solomon didn't use his wisdom. I think he had 300 wives. But anyway, I think what he wrote here was before he had all his wives. Here's the next verse. This one says, from Ecclesiastes, "Enjoy life with a woman whom you love all the days of your fleeting life, for this is your reward in life." So again, our treasure, our reward, the wife that we marry. Okay, I have to speed things up just a little bit because my videographer let me know that we're running out of time, so here we go. I want to cover a few things that I really liked about Joy. One of the first is that she really had a heart for those going through tough times. One of those was a young man that was in prison, that she wrote letters to him for years. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot more about that because my granddaughter Jana will be telling you more about that after this. Then there was another lady, and this was a lady that Joy had met through other friends. And this lady, at some point, became homeless. Was living in a church shelter. And one night, this lady contacted Joy and said, "Hey, could I have a place to sleep for just one night because I'm having so much trouble sleeping at the shelter?" Well, Joy said yes. I guess that was okay for a night. But that night turned into 4 months. So, again, to have a homeless person in your home for 4 months, that was Joy. But anyway, other things about Joy that I wanted to cover. She was my editor. Anytime I had a project and I had to do a lot of writing, she was the one that would look over my reports. Now, for my mental health friends that are here, this was before HIPAA came along. So no violations there. I used to do a lot of court reports. This was back in the 80s and 90s, before HIPAA's time. And Joy would read my reports, and if she said it looked good, if she said it sounded good, then I sent it in. So that's something I certainly am going to miss. And next thing that I really liked about Joy was great sense of humor. Just to give you a sample of some of her humor, if you are a YouTube fan, if you just YouTube, Alexa for seniors. Great video for good clean comedy. Another one is Roosters Chasing Children. It's a great one. Very funny. The last one that we really liked was you have to look up the one about the dog that likes bacon. And that's the talking dog video. It was very popular. Another prime example of her sense of humor was on December 19th, this past December, Joy was given the prognosis that she had 2 weeks to 4 months to live. Well, that night when we came home, she said, I'm going to bed early. And this was probably 10 o'clock, 10:30. And for Joy, that was pretty early. So I come to bed a couple hours later, and she's still up reading. And I'm saying, I thought you were going to go to bed early tonight. She said, well, I was, but I have a lot of reading to do, and I only have 4 months to do it. So there you go. Okay, another thing that Joy was very good at was home decorating, and I'm going to give you a chance to see a little bit of that. But she was also the handyman in our home. Most men have their power saws and their tool collection. I didn't. Joy did. That was her thing, and she was very good at it. She could do drywall. She could do window replacements. She could lay linoleum. Most anything needed to be done, she'd find a way. And plumbing, don't leave out plumbing. She could be under our kitchen sink, putting the pipes together. So all of those things were certainly strengths that she had. I'm going to show you one of her home projects that she worked on. And this was something she did on her own. I didn't help a bit. I wasn't there, I don't think. So as my videographer goes around, you'll see the shelves up there. We only had so much room for pictures on our walls. So Joy came up with this idea, why not put shelves up top? And sure enough, she did. And that gave us a great amount of room because we really enjoy having family pictures all over the place. And this way, if you don't have the wall space, you've got the shelves. And that was just a very, very cool thing that Joy did. Okay, another thing I really, really admired about Joy was she never complained about her MS or her cancer. Now, MS, she's had it for 8 years, was not something she complained about. In fact, it was something that she knew some of the symptoms, and she urged her doctor to send her to a specialist to make sure that she either did or did not have it. The specialist, of course, confirmed it. And it's just something we went with. It didn't slow her down much. She still went and did things that she wanted to do. It's just that her walking was very, very difficult. Just something that's it's amazing what MS does to a person's ability to walk. But we had a wheelchair for a while. Then we had the scooter. So Joy made the best of it. Same thing with her cancer. That when that came along, again, no complaints. That was another thing that she knew something wasn't right. And again, she urged her doctor to send her for tests, and the cancer was confirmed. And soon after that, we had surgery and then on with chemo. And that was just something that, again, she pretty much took in stride. We had a great vacation that first year that she had cancer. We went out to see the recreation of Noah's Ark and also the Creation Museum. So if you're ever in the Cincinnati area and you want to see something pretty wild, a life-size model of the ark that Noah built to the specifications described in the Bible, you ought to see that. Anyway, we went there. Joy had a great time there. Rode her scooter right up through the ark that had several levels in it, and we had a great time. Another thing that I really liked about Joy was that she had great relationships with her friends at church, her lady friends. One church that we went to had life groups, and if you really want to get to know people and form good relationships, you have to be a part of a life group. Now, this church had probably half a dozen life groups, so Joy said, hey, do you want to go and we'll check out these life groups? And I said, no, I don't want to check out these life groups. I want you to check out the life groups. Because she's a social one. So I thought, you know what? Let her go check them out. When she finds one that she likes, then I'll be glad to go. And she did that. She went to several life groups. One was mostly college and young people, so she quickly decided, nope, that's not for us. Another one, she just thought, well, that doesn't quite fit. And finally she hit one that she thought, this one is a good one. I said, okay, I'll be glad to go. And my, oh my, it has turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful life group. She formed some great friendships with the ladies there, and they have been very, very supportive, and it's been a tremendous relationship. So that's a great, great thing. Another thing I liked about Joy, she supported my interests, and I do have some strange interests, ranging from running, roses, rattlesnakes. Actually, most snakes I like. And Just to give you an example of the snake thing, I took the kids for a hike one time. This was back when we lived in Pennsylvania, and sure enough, we found a snake. And we brought it home to show Mom, because isn't that what kids do? You bring things home. Well, Joy was fine with us showing her the snake. She wasn't crazy about the fact that the snake got loose in the house, but it was only in the basement. What's in the basement other than the laundry? But we did catch the critter and got him out of the house, so there's no more problem with him. But also running. Now, running is something that's interesting. Joy could barely walk, but yet she had no problem with me running. And, that was certainly a blessing for me, because running helps me. That's a coping skill for me. And she had no resentment that I'd be out there running. Now, a couple times I offered to take her along with me in her scooter, of course. She never took me up on that, because we have a nice flat road up here that she could run along or ridden her scooter while I did the running, but she didn't take me up on that. But anyway, she encouraged my running, had no problem with it, didn't complain about it, didn't look at it as, look what Dave gets to do and I'm stuck here in the house. That just wasn't something that was a problem for her. Another thing that she's really good at was she was a great gift giver. She knew what I liked, and she would give me just a lot of fun gifts. Now how many wives go around giving their husbands footballs or basketballs? Well, Joy did that. I love that kind of thing, because I played football with the boys, basketball. This was back when we lived in Pennsylvania. She gave me a green and white Larry Bird Boston Celtics basketball. I had that thing for at least 10 years. But those are the kind of gifts that she gave, things that she knew that I enjoyed. Here's another one. Told you I liked roses. Well, here in Lynchburg, of course, we have the Old City Cemetery full of roses. So she got me this fine book loaded with roses. Great place to go in Lynchburg. So that was just another great gift. Now, her parents, they were also good gift givers. They gave me this great little book, Rattlers and Rattler Hunters. And that was about rattlesnake hunters in Pennsylvania. So that was cool. Now, my daughter, she's trying to help out too. So she gave me this very cool magazines about rattlesnakes. So anyway, I've got a lot of good gift givers around me, and that's very helpful. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is Joy's commitment to foster care. Because foster care, a couple things you need to know about foster care. It's not a part-time job, not for the faint-hearted. You have to be in it to win it. Now, let me tell you about some of the experiences Joy went through with foster care. She had one occasion where she was bit by a teenager on the forearm. Oh, that was painful. Another incident in which she almost got a concussion with the door being slammed against her head. But this didn't stop her. Not once did she talk about, well, I've had enough of foster care. I want out. She definitely kept going. And I want to tell you about one of the foster care young ladies that Joy dealt with. And this young lady is here today. And we're going to introduce you to her in a little bit. But anyway, her name is Carly. Carly came to us as a 9 or 10-year-old, and when she came to us, she had a diagnosis called Reactive Attachment Disorder, or RAD. Now, my mental health friends here know what that means. But that's a child that has been through a lot, and a child that has much difficulty forming relationships because of what they've been through. Well, let me tell you, Carly and Joy really tangled during that almost a year that we had her, age 9 to 10. Carly would be doing fine, and all of a sudden she might just take off running out of the parking lot. Joy would have to chase her down. A couple times Joy would tell me about how she had to restrain Carly just to keep her from running off and hurting herself. And I'd never seen that. I heard about it, and then one time I had to restrain Carly, but Joy would do this anytime that it would happen. But anyway, with Carly, fascinating story. This young lady then went to live with another foster home because that foster home had adopted her brother and sister, and she wanted to be with them, and we were in full agreement with that. Well, about 5 years, maybe 6 years later, Carly came back to us because that arrangement did not work out. So she looked us up when she was, I think, either 15 or 16. And, well, still a high-spirited young lady. But you know what? She made it through her 18th birthday, got her GED, got to the point where she didn't want anything to do with school, but she was willing to get her GED, and she got it. Then she worked for a few years here in the Lynchburg area doing different jobs. And then finally she decided she wanted to go to Florida because she had some family down there. She went there, checked out the family. That didn't really materialize. Then somewhere she got the notion that she wanted to go into aerospace engineering. I'm saying, what? But she did it, and she now has an associate's degree in aerospace engineering. She has started working on her bachelor's degree. In fact, she's taking classes now. Next year, I think next summer, she has been accepted into the Florida Institute of Technology, and she'll finish her degree there. And she's currently working at Cape Kennedy in Florida, and her work is in building rockets. So you go from being a rad child to being a builder of rockets. That is what we call success. Also, we have... by the way, I should mention we did adopt Carly. And just to tell you a little bit more about Carly, in December, when she heard about Joy's prognosis, she decided that she was coming home for Christmas, and she did. So that was just a wonderful visit that she got to see Joy at a time when Joy was still in decent health. And that was just very uplifting to have that visit. Okay, another young person that really impacted our lives was Joe. Joe has quite the story, just like Carly does. And Joe, I just want to tell you something about him. Very, very fascinating. This young man came to us through the Bedford Department of Social Services, through their foster care department. And Joe now, as a 25-year-old, works for the Bedford County Department of Social Services in their protective services unit. So just a wonderful, wonderful success story. And we have two other young ladies that are here with us today. We consider them family. We consider them daughters. One is Missy. Missy was with us in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And we moved from Altoona to Lynchburg during the last half of her senior year. So that was kind of hard for her. But you know what? She didn't quit on us. She hung in there, maintained contact with us, and here we are 19 years later, and she's very much part of our lives. And that's because of the connection that Joy had with Missy. And now Missy has her own family, has her husband and her their four sons are here today. And we're very pleased to have them as part of the family. Then I have one other young lady. This young lady, another fascinating story. We had her in foster care when she was in the 7th grade. And she and my daughter Beth were good buddies and went through 7th grade together. And then it was a year or so later we moved to Virginia, and I think Beth got to see this young lady is Farron. Got to see Farron I think once after we moved to Virginia. That she and Joy went to Pennsylvania with Joy's mom to visit with Farron and Farron's sister. Had a very nice visit, and again that was probably either 17 or 18 years ago that happened. Well, we didn't see Farron again until January of this year. And that was Farron also, when she heard about the prognosis of Joy, she came and she brought her nephew and niece, and she is she's working on adopting those two young children. And we had a great visit with her and the two children. That was a lot of fun. And Farron is here today also. So we're going to introduce them to you in just a few minutes so you can meet all of our children, because I really think that with Joy, one of the most lasting legacy All right, folks, I am just about done. Every now and then I have to take a break, but just in conclusion, when it comes to our children, Joy is the one that made it happen at home. She did whatever was needed to meet the needs of all of our kids, and she did it well. And I think when you meet our kids, you'll see that, yes, she definitely did a good job. Thank you.